All right, welcome to another webinar from Tarvent. My name's Jason, CEO and founder, and we've got Derek, who's also one of the founders and developers of the Tarvent application. So welcome. We missed last month. Um, wish we were able to be on. It's kind of my fault. I was sick, so we decided to skip, focus on our development, some of the things that we were doing, and start back up this month. So it's kind of where things are at. So welcome, Derek.
How's it going, everybody? Yeah, we've been on top of Jason being sick. We've been really busy, so it's been a good past 2 months. But yeah, we missed that last one just due to illness, but also being very busy. So
Yeah.
it's a good thing to have happen. But we're busy making the platform better, so
Yeah.
it's always good.
So let's jump into it. So company update, some of the things that we've been working on. It's always nice when we can add a whole bunch of features that you guys get to see in real time, and there's a lot of UI changes that you can see things, but in some cases we're still adding functionality. It's just may not apply to you, and that's the case with one of the major rollouts that we did, and that's the less annoying CRM integration. So that was first released on 9/23, and so that is now available. So if you are looking for, well, first I'll go over our integration just so you kind of understand what we were doing, why we took so long, and what we were doing, why it's such a big deal to us. So that integration, we built an entire integration framework, and this is us being as transparent as possible because we like to let you guys know what we're doing. We don't like to keep secrets and just give you really vague updates. We like to get into a little bit of detail. So with that, and we're going to try to keep this webinar to at least kind of short. But anyway, so with the webinar, let's try that again with the integration. So with the integration, what we did is we built a whole integration framework. And so that framework is allowing us to build integrations at a really rapid pace. So the first integration built on that framework is Less Annoying CRM. And I'll get into them in just a minute. But by building that integration framework with Less Annoying being that first one, we're able to make things so much easier for future integrations. And just like everybody else, the proof is in the releases and stuff. And so we've been kind of praying that everything that we did for Less Annoying is going to work out really, really well for future integrations. And I can tell you now that it's proven to be extremely successful. So anyway, so Less Annoying, why did we pick them? So the reason we picked Less Annoying, and Derek, you can kind of attest to this too, I'm sure, but Less Annoying, the very first thing that caught our eye was their name. We're pretty low key and fairly relaxed, and we really like the name because Less Annoying CRM. The nice thing about their CRM platform, it is less annoying. I mean, if you go into Salesforce or HubSpot, you're going to be dealing with a whole lot of stuff. There's a lot of functionality that they offer. It's a great solution if you're more advanced, but if you're just needing the basic CRM capabilities, it gets really overwhelming really quick. Less Annoying, CRM, or LACRM for short, is not like that. So what they did is they built a super, super easy to use platform that you can get in. You can still customize a lot of things to make it work exactly how you want it to, but you don't have all the extra features that you're probably not going to ever use. So what Less Annoying CRM opted to do is make their platform super fast, super easy to use. And then on top of all that, they have great support. And so because of those, all those different attributes of their company, we decided to integrate with them first. And so that's what we ended up doing. And it so far has worked out really well. We did have a hiccup in the beginning, and that hiccup is that we built the integration. It's our first CRM integration. I mean, we've used CRM, but this was our first one. And so because of that, we learned a lesson. We just assumed that everybody would want to sync all of their contacts. Well, we learned that was a fail. Um, so then I guess, Derek, I've been doing a lot of talking. I'll kind of let you explain what do we do to address that concern, because you're the one that dealt with all the customers saying, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z, and you can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. First off, I just want to say, yeah, we align really well with the less annoying CRM brand, just because, I mean, as a front end developer, our goal is to make the UI as the least annoying possible. So just trying to make the UI as simple as possible, make it so that whatever action you want to do, it's very intuitive. And so, yeah, just kind of going along with what Jason said earlier, we just really aligned with how LACRM positions themselves and thought it was a great opportunity to integrate with them. But yeah, like Jason said, we had several requests once we released this integration to kind of scope in on the context that they sync into Tarvent. So instead of just syncing everybody, syncing particular groups within LACRM. And so that's kind of what we did. So we in the integration, we introduced the setting to pick what groups you want to sync within your LACRM account. So now you can no longer, if you want to sync all your contacts, then you have to pick all the groups that those contacts are in. But now the syncing is all based on groups. So when you go to set up your LACRM integration, there'll be an option in there to pick which groups you want to sync. And then once that sync runs, it'll pick all those contacts up from those groups and put them into Tarvent. And so this just allows you to separate your CRM contacts from your marketing contacts, because once again, we learned very quickly after releasing this integration that those two are not the same. So yeah, we just added that setting to be able to make it really easy to add your marketing contacts in without it being too difficult. So
yeah. I mean, in the timing of our webinar is great, because Less Annoying CRM just announced that feature upgrade for the integration. So all their customers know. If you guys are looking for a CRM, definitely check out Less Annoying CRM, especially if you're a small business and you just need some of the basic stuff, but you still need some flexibility. Less Annoying CRM is a great option, and it's very inexpensive to use, and their support is great. So, so they're a good one to use. So now with that, so we built our first one with LACRM, and then we are quickly moving on to our next one, and that next integration is with Copper. So Copper is another CRM solution. They're kind of when you look at functionality, that Copper's a little bit more advanced than what you would get with Less Annoying CRM. So Less Annoying is great if you if you have more basic needs and you don't need all the craziness that comes with some of the more advanced solutions. So Copper is going to be not near as sophisticated as Salesforce or HubSpot. They're kind of in the middle. So Less Annoying would be a great option if you need basic CRM. If you have more salespeople and you need a little bit more flexibility with pipeline stuff and just some of the opportunities and whatnot. So if you need a little bit more than what Less Annoying has, Copper is another solution. Now you're going to pay a different price. So Copper is a little bit more expensive to use, but they're a great solution. Both of them are. So they just have different scopes of people or different target audiences that they're going after. So with Copper, we started on that integration on Friday of last week. So we're just getting started, but because of that integration framework that we built, we're looking at probably being done on Wednesday or Thursday of this week. So in a 4 to 5 day turnaround time, we're now able to build out this integration really, really fast. Copper has some additional things that Less Annoying doesn't have that we're going to be integrating with to provide you a little bit more capability. Less Annoying also has some things that Copper doesn't have. So there's just some differences. So we highly suggest you check both of those companies out. If you are really aware of a budget, or you have kind of a strict budget, Less Annoying CRM is going to be a great option. But if you need a little bit more capability, Copper CMR is another good option to go with, or just called Copper. But But anyway, so we're working on that one, and that's going to be another native integration. And what we mean by native is that we're integrating directly with them. So you don't have to use Zapier or Make or anybody else. So there's no additional fees to use that integration. And the nice thing about that integration is we not only integrate and sync data back and forth with a bidirectional sync, we also listen to events. So if you create a contact in Lessanoin or in Copper, that contact is going to show up in Tarvent almost immediately. So you don't have to run a sync job to get all that data over in a bulk type scenario. We're going to get things over in real time. So either on a create or an update, or if a contact is deleted, you're going to be able to, all that stuff's going to work real time. The other benefit is not only are we listening to when you create, update, delete, and that sort of thing, but we are also listening to events. So if you create a pipeline item in Lessanoin CRM, they're called pipeline items. When you're in Copper, they're called opportunities. So just a little bit different terminology, but in either case, when you create those things, you can fire off a journey on our side. So, there's different things you're going to be able to listen to that trigger those automations on our end. So you can really, you really do a lot more automation with your CRM using Tarvent, because now we have that tight integration that we're not only listening to data, but we're also listening to events. So that's the other big one that we're working on is Copper. After Copper, we're going to be starting to push out more and more CRM integrations. So if there is a CRM that you're using, let us know when that might be the next one that we do. So we've got a list of potential integrations that we're going to be working on. We've got some feelers out there, and we're talking to different people. We're really trying to target CRMs that focus on the small business. There's a lot. I mean, we could do HubSpot and Salesforce. Those are standard ones, but for a much bigger customer, especially nowadays, because prices keep going up, so they're becoming more and more expensive. So we're really aware of that, and we're making sure that we pick CRMs to integrate with that are cost effective for our customer base, as well as the customers that are using those CRM systems, because they're going to look for an email marketing platform that is equally cost effective. So those are the two big things that are going on in the CRM or in the integration world that we're working on right now. Lessanoin's released. Copper is coming up here this week. Unless something weird happens, it's, in technology that tends to happen, but we're pretty confident that we're going to be able to get that released here pretty quick. So with that, we made a lot of other changes, but I'm going to let Derek kind of go over some of those other ones, because we've got a lot of UI changes. And as you guys may know, Derek does a lot of that UI side, or the user interface side. So the things that you see when you go to our platform, a lot of that Derek ends up working on. So with that, Derek, I'll turn it over to you, and you can talk about some of the next ones.
All right, cool. Can you just share my screen so I can show everyone?
Yeah, I'll do that quick here.
All right.
Cool. All right, so there you go.
Zoomed in enough. Yeah. So since the last time we did this webinar, we've made several UI enhancements or just redesigns to make your guys' life easier. So I'll just kind of go through those and explain what we've done, just so you guys know what's happening. So the first thing we changed is in library. So if you guys remember what library used to look like, it used to just be a list. So it was just a list with your file name or content block name or image name, whatever asset you had in there. So we changed this to look more like a library should. So now you'll have, well, this is a content block, so it just shows an icon. But if you scroll down to your images, then you'll see a little thumbnail of your image. So you can just see all the assets you have within your account without having to click the list item, view it, and then go back to list item to view whatever else. So we made this just a lot easier to look at your images. And then we also added some more navigation on this page. So in the image picker, in the editor, we had this date picker or month picker pretty much. So we brought that into library. So it's easier to see what images you uploaded for April of 2025 or July of 2023. I don't know what happened in 2024. We just didn't upload anything in this account. But yeah, so anyways, you'll see each month that you uploaded a file, you'll see a month link for that so you can navigate to it. And then additionally, we added some just viewing settings so you can change the size of these to view more at one time. And you can get really small so you can see kind of just a small thumbnail of each. But besides that, everything is the same on this page. You can still go to folders. You can still do the bulk actions. You can filter on the name, type, and tags. So yeah, those are the changes we made in library. So then moving on to another change we made is we changed where you access forms. So before, you used to have to go into your audience and then click on the forms within your audience, and then that would show you a list of all your forms. We've received several questions and support and just feedback from our customers that it's not that intuitive to go into your audience then into forms. They'd much more prefer to have forms at the main navigation level. So we added forms into the main navigation. So if you go into here, then you'll see a list of all your forms. If you have one audience, which is most likely the case, then you'll only see the forms for that audience. But if you have multiple audiences, then you'll see this audience column that just says what audience that form is for. And then you'll also be able to filter on audience if you have multiple, and filter on tag type and just the name of the form. Yeah, we just thought that this would, well, we didn't think, it's just the feedback we received is that this is just much easier to manage your forms when it's part of the main navigation instead of having to go into your audience then into forms. So that was another change we made. So then moving on, in the audience, we made some changes to data fields. So then we made a couple changes. So the layout of the page is different. So now we only list your custom fields. We used to list your standard fields, but they're standard. You can't change them. They're just there. So we decided to take those out because it really didn't provide much value to this page. But now you'll just see your custom fields. It's the same data you used to see. So just name, type, merge tag, whatever else. But we also added the option to do bulk actions, which in this case, the only bulk action is to delete. And then we also added functionality to control which columns show up on this table. So if you wanted to hide the default column or the default value column, then you can come in here, uncheck it, apply, and then it will remember that. So the next time you come to this page, it won't show that column. Now, the next thing we added for data fields is the bulk add. So this is something that's more useful for when you're just coming into your account for the first time. But it's basically just a way to easily add a ton of data fields to your audience. So if you need to add like 5 or 6 data fields, we noticed that it's annoying to have to click new field, fill out the form, and then have to repeat that process for every field you want to add. So we added this bulk add fields dialog that just allows you to add multiple fields very quickly. So you just specify name, data type if it's required, and then you do that for each field you want to add. So those were the changes we made to the data fields. We also changed it to just fields because that's just a more common industry term. Data fields is a little more techy. So yeah, I keep saying data fields because that's what I'm used to, but now it's just, we refer to them as fields. So it's just the fields of your audience.
Yeah, if you guys haven't gotten the theme yet, a lot of our focus has been on making our platform a lot easier. A lot of people say we have a ton of functionality and it works out really, really well once they get to know it. But sometimes, especially onboarding, you're just brand new to the product and you're trying to figure everything out. We're working on making that even more intuitive than before and just giving you some ways to do things really, really quick. And especially coming over from a CRM platform, you know, a lot of CRM customers have a ton of data fields. So we want to make it easy. And that's kind of where this bulk came up, is we just want to make it easy because in some cases we were having customers that had to add 60 data fields or 60 fields. Derek and I both have the same problem as we call them data fields. So, so because of that, we want to make it super simple for them to do that in our product. And so that's everything you're seeing is a lot of things just to make life a lot easier. So you're more productive right from the get-go.
Yep. Yeah. So
this
then
next one is definitely one of my more favorite ones, just because I like things looking more simple.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is another area we've gotten a decent amount of feedback, more just questions about how import works. And so this is, again, like Jason said, we try to figure out what we can do for import to make it easier. So we made some changes to the mapping screen of the import process. So I'll just go into here and add a field really quick just to show what that will look like.
Yeah, for the record, even as simple as that delimiter at the top, we actually looked at what the most common delimiter was, and then we reorganized that drop-down list. So now the most common delimiter is the first option. So we're paying attention. We're looking at how people use it, not necessarily from feedback, but just looking at our usage and going from there. So I mean, we're paying attention, whether you tell us or not. We're still going to look and try to make it as easy as possible.
Yep. Yeah, so I'll go to next. All right, so this is where we made a lot of changes. So you'll notice that if you've done an import before, then you'll notice that the top of the column where you actually set up the mapping is a lot simpler than it was before. We used to have a switch in here to be able to skip a column. We had a plus to be able to add a field, but we kind of just simplified that. So now it's all handled within the dropdown. So if you want to skip a field, then you can pick that here. If you want to add a new field, you can click that here. But it's all handled within the dropdown instead of having a bunch of other UI elements on the page that just makes the screen look more complicated. So then the other thing that we did to make import just a lot easier is we now detect if the first column contains the column name. So before you'd upload your file, you'd come to the screen, and then if your first row had the column names, you'd have to select this checkbox, and then it would do its thing. But now when you go into the screen after you upload your file, we automatically detect that and just set this by default. Now there will be some odd chance that this doesn't work, just with the millions of scenarios that there could be with your data file, but it should work most of the time where it just automatically selects this if your first row is column names and not actual data. But yeah, so those are the main things we did to clean up the screen, is just automatically set this for you, move the skip and the new into here, and then just simplify this a lot so it's not so intimidating when you come into it for the first time, or just easier if you've done multiple imports before. So
yeah, I like it because it's just less to look at, easier to understand. And I know a lot of our competitors, they do things more in a vertical fashion. So you just have all of your data fields just in a line stacked on top of each other, and then you'll see 1, 2, or 3 pieces of sample data, and then you map the field. So it's like 3 different columns, and you have a row for every data field. So that's another way to do things, but it takes a lot of scrolling. You don't get to see as much on the screen at one time. So we're kind of trying to balance that out. We're trying to give you the ability to see a lot more of your data at once. And we're trying to present it more like what you would look at in Google Sheets or Excel. So we're trying to make it look as intuitive as possible and more kind of what you would normally see in your data. So yeah, with that,
yeah.
as many times as we can get rid of extra elements so you don't have to figure it all out, the better.
Yep. Yeah, and we also just like this layout because it's really similar to like what you'd see in your CSV file. So if you were to open it in Excel, because that was something that Jason and I talked about when we were reviewing the screen, is just we wanted to make it as similar to what you see in whatever platform you're using to view your data. So if that's Excel or Google Sheets or whatever, we just want to make it look similar so it's not such a mind shift when you have to reorganize how you're looking at that data. So just
Just
another little
reiterated what I
insight.
just said, but it's okay. So
Oh,
no, it's
I
fine.
was
But all right, so that's kind of it with import and with fields instead of calling it data fields. So we did a lot there. So now, I mean, there was another feature that we did a little while ago. We released it, and yeah, if you can jump into journeys, or was there something
Oh, I
more you
was,
want to bring
yeah,
up?
there was just one more
Oh,
thing I want
okay.
to bring up in audience, and that's just the bulk actions.
Okay.
So we released this, I think, probably earlier in September or mid-September, somewhere around there. But anyways, it's just the ability to do more of these actions with bulk. So if you want to select all the contacts in your audience and you want to add them to a journey or add a tag, then we added more bulk actions to this functionality. It used to only be that you could do resend subscription confirmation. So it's a very purpose-built bulk action. But now all these are available for bulk, which just makes, we've gotten a lot of feedback from customers that they want to do these for the bulk selection. So that'll just make things a whole lot easier. So that was the only other thing I wanted to go over in audience.
Yeah, and our first implementation of bulk was a little bit on the weak side, we know. So we've changed it now. So now you can select everybody, not just from that one page. So there's a lot of things you're able to do now with the bulk, and it just runs a lot more intuitive. So the next thing we did, this was a challenge for us, I'll be honest. So Derek, if you scroll down to the bottom of that journey, so
it's a long one.
Yeah. So in here, our first go at journeys, we had entry triggers and we had exit triggers. So we were thinking, okay, there's entry triggers. That's how somebody enters into the journey based on up to 10 different conditions or various events that happen. And so that's how you enter into the journey. And then we had at the bottom, we had the little, finishing flag. So the finish flag, and it used to say exit journey or end journey, I think is what it was. And then people were still thinking, okay, I got to add in an exit trigger. And so that was just confusing, and, the name and whatever. So then we thought, okay, let's put it as complete journey. And so we had a complete journey, but people are still kind of getting confused about exit triggers. So it took us a little bit. Call us slow, I don't know, but we were so focused on our way of thinking about it that it took us kind of a little bit to understand where the confusion was coming from. We then realized where the confusion was, and so exit triggers is, you don't use an exit trigger to exit somebody out of the journey at the end. Exit triggers were used to exit somebody from a journey, no matter where they're at in the journey, if a condition or an event was true. And so it just kind of listened to a contact throughout the journey and would exit them from the journey at any point in time. So most journeys, you never have to use exit triggers. It'll just, as soon as they get to the last step, then they finish the journey and you're all done. But because at the very top we had entry triggers, people were like, well, there's entry triggers, so we must need to use exit triggers. Totally logical. We just missed it. So to accommodate that, for one, we got rid of exit triggers at the top. It used to be up where Derek's mouse is. So we used to have it up there. That was confusing people. They're like, why isn't it on the map? Why is it outside? Well, it's outside because they're global. They don't go anywhere within the journey. They're just listening all the time. So what we've done is we've renamed exit triggers to, now they're called smart stops. So smart stop is the exact same thing. So you can go into smart stops and you can add a smart stop that just listens for certain conditions or events to happen. If any of those events or conditions happen, then it'll exit them out of the journey. Now, people may wonder, why would you ever use this? So a good example is a university. So let's say you are looking at a university and you're thinking about applying. So you're going to ask for some more information. They're going to send you information, and then they're going to start you on a journey that introduces you to that university. Now, let's say during that journey process, you decide that you're going to enroll for some bachelor program. Well, what you could use is you can use a smart stop in that journey to say, as soon as they enroll in a bachelor program, we want to exit them out of the university, get to know the university journey. We're going to exit them out of there. And then we're going to start them on the journey specific to that bachelor program. So now you can get information about that bachelor program. So that's a way that you would use smart stops, is just kind of, you're going along, but if they do something and that journey no longer applies to them, exit them out. Use the smart stop to stop them in that journey. And how our system works is it'll always stop, and then it will use that same event to see if, that same event or condition, it's going to run the entry triggers after that. So it's basically allows you to exit and then start another journey all at the same time. So they kind of work hand in hand, but we're just trying to make it easier. So we came up with a different name. They're the same thing. It's just a different name to kind of get away from the whole exit and entry trigger. We're just going to go with entry triggers and smart stop. And we just made it a little bit cleaner on how you edit that stuff. But they're still global, still do the same thing as before, just a different name.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I just want to add.
What was that?
I just want to add one more thing about that, because I run into this with support, not super often, but often enough I want to mention something. It's just, so at the end of a journey, we have this complete journey icon here. And that just means once the contact gets past, so I'll just go to this first path. So once the contact gets past the send email step, they automatically exit the journey. We have an action here that's called exit a journey, but you don't need to put this action at the end of the journey. They will exit automatically. That exit a journey action is typically, it's supposed to be used to exit another journey that the contact could be a part of. So that's what that action's for. You do not need to add it at the end of the journey. Once a contact gets past that last step, they'll be exited automatically. So I just want to bring that up because we're on that topic.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely something we've seen. And you definitely don't need to use it. So like you said, it's typically to exit you from another journey. So in that university example, that bachelor, you could just have an entry trigger, enters them into the journey, and then the first node or the first step you hit could exit you from that get to know the university journey. So there's lots of ways you can use our system depending on what works best for you. The only other thing I'm going to mention in here, because we just did a demo yesterday, and we get a lot of feedback on this. If you click send email, so, and then scroll to the bottom of there. So the one thing that we have that's super unique to us, at least as far as we know, it's really unique to us, is you don't need to use an if block, or in this case, like what Derek's got on the screen here, decision split. So in other systems, they'll have like an if step, and there's always a true path and a false path. So in our system, you don't have to use those. You can actually just skip. So in that apply to which contacts, if you select that only contacts that meet the criteria, then you can put in criteria. If they don't meet that criteria, they're going to end up just skipping. So that way you don't have to do the whole decision split. You could just have them skip right over that step and move on to the next step. So that is a unique feature about our system, but it makes our journeys a lot less complicated to look at, because we allow you to just skip that one step based on criteria. So, and that criteria can be either looking at profile data, looking at behavioral data. There's a number of different things that you can look at. But anyway, so all that stuff is available. So just wanted to bring that up because that is a unique feature. And if you don't use it, if you don't need to use it, then it doesn't matter. But if you want to have that sort of capability, but you just don't want to add in all the decision splits and all that stuff, you don't have to. You can just use that one feature. Other than that, we have a few questions that came up. A lot of the questions we've just answered in support. So we did want to bring up a couple just because, they're unique to what we've been releasing. So the first question is, how can I sync specific groups with an LACRM integration? So I'll let Derek kind of go over that.
Yeah, I'll have to just set this up quick. I guess this will give you guys a really quick crash course on how to set up Less Annoying CRM.
Yeah.
So, I'll just show how I got here. So I went to main navigation, went to account, clicked on integrations, and then on this integrations page, just found the Less Annoying CRM integration. So I'm just going to go ahead and add an account. I'll do, I guess, yeah, I'll just leave it as customers, do connect now. This is going to just bring us through the whole OAuth process for setting up that connection. All right, so once you're connected and you go to this next screen, so this is where you set up the groups you want to sync. So you have your notification email, and then this is that group selection. So under contact sync selection, you'll have this list of groups. And these are just the 2 groups we have in our LACRM account. But yeah, you'll just select however many groups you want. You can select 1, select multiple. It's up to you. But you have to select at least 1. That is the rule. So you'll select which groups you want to sync, and then go through the rest of the settings. So sync direction, there's some options down here. Hit next, and this just goes into your field mapping, which we have a video. I'll add it to the description of this video or this webinar, but we have a video that goes through all the stuff that I'm talking about right now in more depth. I'm just going over this very quick. But yeah, to answer the question, it's here. So the contact sync selection, select the groups, and move on from there.
Yeah, it's super nice because, I mean, we learned a lesson. There was one particular customer that I was thinking of that they had like 110,000 contacts in their LACRM account, but they actually only wanted to move over a couple thousand. So, Tarvent, as most systems do, they charge based on the number of contacts that you have. So it would have been extremely expensive for him to sync up all of his contacts when he only wanted to sync a couple thousand that he was going to be doing marketing to, because he's been in business a really long time. So he has contacts from a long time ago that he doesn't really interact with as much anymore. So that's where this came in. It was a miss on our side. We are totally fine admitting to our mistakes. We fix them and then we move on. So, with that, it was a lesson learned and we fixed it. And it's a great integration now, and it works super well because, like I said, not only does it sync your data, but it interacts with journeys. And for all of our integrations, you're going to see, as you activate those integrations, you'll see new steps that are available, steps and triggers that are available within Journey. So the next thing I think we kind of went over it is, is there a way that I can add data fields in bulk? And we kind of went over that already, but that with that bulk data fields, how you add them, super awesome feature just because it's really easy. In addition to that, if you're like me and you don't like to use your mouse as much and you like to use a keyboard, you can always tab, and if the tabbing is set up correctly. Some applications, the developers don't pay attention to that. We do. So the tabbing works to just tab through it. So you don't even have to use your mouse. You can just go tab through and you're done. So really, really easy to add a whole bunch of fields at one go. It doesn't give you all the settings per field, but you can at least add those fields in, and then you can go back and add in default values. If you want to add a description, which will show up on forms and that sort of thing, then you can do that, and you can add all that stuff later. But at least it lets you put this in, so then you can do your integration or your import or what have you. So we just don't want roadblocks, and we want to make it as easy as possible. So with that, it's kind of it. We spent a little bit more time than we wanted to, and that's kind of usually the case because I talk a lot. But anyway, always want to mention our affiliate program and the referral. So, our affiliate program, you go up to the top, we have where you can become an affiliate. The affiliate program, you can get paid anywhere from 20% up to 30% every month that accounts that you recommend to us are on. Then we're going to send you anywhere from 20 to 30% commission for those. And that's for the life of the account. There's no cap on it. If you bring us enough accounts that we're paying you $1 million a month, I'm going to love you a lot for it. So yeah, you can, the affiliate program is a great program. Otherwise, we also have the referral program. We're going to make a couple changes to that. So instead of it just giving you a gift card, we're going to be doing something a little bit different where we can give you credit on your account. So that way it just reduces your cost on your email marketing account. Because if you're referring people to us, hopefully you're also using us. But we're going to be making some changes there, but refer people. It's the best thing. It helps us. We're a small business like you probably are. So we really rely on word of mouth, and we also rely on reviews. So if you haven't given us a review, please do, whether it be on Google or G2 or Trustpilot, any number of different platforms that we're on. We'd love to get reviews from you guys. If they're negative reviews, maybe reach out to us before and see if there's something we could do to fix it. We want honest reviews, but we also want good reviews. So if there's a way that we can fix a negative review before that review goes out, that would be awesome. But anyway, with that, just at least that it's there. So we encourage you guys to like and subscribe, whatever you're viewing us on. Follow us. We'd love to see that people are following us, so we don't feel like we're just talking to a lens. So let us know that you're there and that you like what we have to offer. If you don't like it, that's fine too. Let us know. We can't make the system better without hearing from you. Well, we can, but it'd be a lot easier if we knew what you guys were thinking. Our next webinar is going to be November 4th. So we'll be doing this again. If you have any questions beforehand, you can still go to our webinar page. You don't have to fill out the form to see the webinar, but you can fill out the form to ask questions. Otherwise, you can always email us at support@tarvent.com, or once you're logged in, you can connect with us through support, create a ticket, ask a question there, and we'll make sure to answer all those questions in the system. Actually, we just got another question, and my bad, I didn't notice it. So we'll answer that really quick. We were about ready to wrap up, but I like answering questions. So start from scratch an email builder should be a blank page, not a Tarvent corporate looking email. I just delete every element from scratch. Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. And we did have it branded for Tarvent, and I didn't like that. So we just put in just a basic. So start from scratch. It does start from scratch, but it gives you some elements, especially if you're brand new. Then it gives you an idea of what an email could be, and you get rid of those. We try to make it simple, but I think we only have like 3 elements in there. But yeah, if you're creating a lot of those emails from scratch, maybe we can look at adding an option that start from scratch truly is from scratch with just a blank page. But we just don't have that yet. But at least we got rid of the Tarvent branding. We didn't want it to make it feel like everything is about us. So we did do that and have a more generic looking logo in there. But yeah, we can look at it, changing that around. Again, we rely on your guys' feedback. So we appreciate it and hope to get that from you. The only last thing really quick, because I just remembered, is that we're going to have a survey that pops up in Tarvent. We're going to be asking about, although we're doing these CRM integrations, we're also looking at adding some additional functionality on top of that that isn't related to CRM. So we're going to be asking some questions on there. Not a long survey, but we really, really hope that you guys submit the survey because that's invaluable to us. I mean, it's just not something that we can replicate on our own. GPT and Claude and all the AIs are great, but hearing from a human is always way better. So please take the survey. It won't take you hardly any time, but that's something that we're working on, getting that developed so we can present that in the app. So look forward to that. And it's just giving you a voice so you can let us know what the next features is that we should add. And I know we've got a roadmap and we've got that stuff in there, but some people don't submit the roadmap. So we're trying to make it super simple. So with that, I've done a ton of talking. Apologize. Derek didn't do near as much talking. I just talk a lot. So anyway, with that, hope you guys have a great month. We'll be talking to you next time, unless you're on support, and that next time will be support. So thanks again for joining and watching.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming and watching us excel and make the tool better. So
yeah, see you next time. Bye.